5 gum. Choose your experience. Choose your flavor. A tingling spearmint. A cooling peppermint. 5 gum. Stimulate your senses.
Do begin here this morning with the 6 women, 5 of them mothers, who are re-entering the jury room this morning to decide the fate of this man, George Zimmerman.
And only one minority on that jury. It's a case that has transfixed and divided America. Did Zimmerman murder 17-year-old Treyvon Martin, or was it self-defense? ABC's Matt Gutman is in Sanford, Florida.
Good morning, Paula. Good morning, Dan. That is a heavy burden they bear. And those 6 jurors are expected back here this morning. They're probably going to take up a room on the other side of that courthouse. Now, for the past 2 weeks, they've been listening, prohibited from talking about the case, even to each other. Now it's their turn to talk. They spent about 3.5 hours deliberating yesterday, and judging by their first act as a jury, they are taking this responsibility very seriously.
It was their first decision as a jury.
It's in the form of a request from the jury. It says, is there an inventory list of the evidence by number and description?
The controversial case put in their hands after attorneys for both sides made their last pitch.
I'm asking you to use your common sense.
An appeal from prosecutor John Guy for the 6 jurors, 5 of them mothers, to think with their hearts.
Who's responsible for the state not being able to ask Trayvon Martin to step forward so I could put my hand on his shoulder? God, I'd love to do that.
Insisting Zimmerman's claim of self-defense is a lie, and his responsibility for the shooting began when he left his car and followed 17-year-old Trayvon Martin.
This case is not about standing your ground. It's about staying in your car.
Zimmerman's lead defense attorney Mark O'Mara also employing theater, even hauling out this block of cement to show his client had to shoot in self-defense when Martin pounded his head into the pavement.
That is a sidewalk. And that is not an unarmed teenager.
Tension overnight mounting here, with the jury recessing until morning, delaying the verdict. At times it seemed almost too much for Trayvon Martin's parents, now determined to see it through.
They've started this journey over 17 months ago, just asking for simple justice so his death won't be in vain.
Now, everyone here is waiting anxiously. I'm told Zimmerman is huddling with his family. Trayvon Martin's parents also very anxious, but throughout they've been telling everybody, urging them to stay. Still, he has canceled all vacations, all furloughs. It is all hands on deck with his police force. Dan?
These are nervous hours in Florida. Matt Gutman, thank you. For more on all of this, let's bring in ABC's chief legal affairs anchor and Nightline anchor, Dan Abrams. Dan, good morning.
Morning, Dan.
These jurors have 3 options: second-degree murder, manslaughter, or not guilty. In your view, which of those options are they most likely to choose?
If these jurors follow the letter of the law, and jurors in high-profile cases tend to follow the letter of the law, then I think they'll find them not guilty. What does that mean? It means that they won't have been able to find beyond a reasonable doubt that it wasn't self-defense at the moment that this happened. And people talk about the elements needed for second-degree murder and manslaughter, and those are all true. But the most important legal issue for these jurors is, have the prosecutors overcome proving beyond a reasonable doubt that it was not self-defense in that moment? And I think that most people who've been watching this case, most lawyers in particular, think that that's a tough burden for the prosecution.
You think it's possible we could see a verdict as soon as today. Why so quickly?
Because this hasn't been that long a case. This is not a case about who done it. We know who did it. George Zimmerman shot Trayvon Martin. The question is how and why. And I think when jurors are determining that issue, if there's not a divide, if there's not a split, if there's not one person who is separated from the rest of the jury, I don't think there's any reason why we couldn't have a verdict late today.
Well, it's possible this will be a big day in Florida. Dan Abrams, thank you very much.